to working from home. Well, let's find out a little bit more about this industry, an industry we rarely hear from despite these huge numbers, 40 to 50,000 people working in it here. Julie Mordue is an expert on the contact centre industry. She works for the recruitment business Greenbean and joins me now. Afternoon, Julie.
Good afternoon, Lisa.
How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Just
Good.
adapting to the new normal.
As everyone is. That's the thing. And it's changed for so many of us, haven't it? Now, I'm staggered a little bit by the numbers that I've just given out there. 40 to 50,000 people working in this industry in this area. Paint a picture of what this industry means to our region, Julie.
It means an awful lot. I mean, it accounts for about 6% of the working population in the northeast. It's created some fantastic career opportunities for people that have gone in, started on the phones and developed into being directors within global brand names without having had, gone to university and done all of that. It's an immense sector in terms of creation of jobs and ultimately careers.
And we have got some real big players in the northeast, don't we? Why? What brings those big hitters, if you like, to this region in particular?
I think there's obviously the northern accent. Everybody loves the northern accent.
Yeah.
And the work ethic, I think, the Geordies are and the people throughout the northeast are extremely friendly, and the customers warm towards northern accents, as well as they love working together as part of a team. And it's a fantastic industry to be part of. The collaboration is quite unique and it's not seen in many other sectors.
And I guess from a cost point of view, there's probably an awful lot of brilliant office space in the northeast that's a lot cheaper than further down the country.
There is absolutely. We're seeing a lot of north shoring going on at the moment where people are looking to relocate their southern contact centres and are moving up to the northeast, one of which we've just recently had announced was Ocado, huge player in the retail and tech sector. We've had other businesses such as Very Sure. They are smart alarm services. They've recently relocated to move to the northeast to bring their centre of excellence here. So it's a great place for contact centres to be.
So tell us then what you feel has been the impact on contact centres during the pandemic. I mean, we heard from Julie there in that little diary, if you like, a lot of people working from home. What other impacts have we had?
It's been massive on the sector, and the sector has really risen to the challenge. Got to take hats off to all of the leaders that have managed to bring their people along on the journey with them. So whether they've been all sent home to work with the technology, and a lot of, we've heard of the numbers of the NHS BSA there, but we've also had some contact centres where there's been over 2,000 have been sent home to work within a matter of a few days. So that kind of transformation in another industry would have taken 18 months to 2 years to happen.
Wow.
So they've reacted to the sector really, really well. It has come up with other challenges because the contact centre sector is very vibrant and, people bounce off each other, which is very difficult when you're actually working from home. So they've had to try new ways of engaging their staff. The contact centre sector has always been really, really strong in engaging their staff, career development, looking after people's health and well-being. The employee engagement is really, really paramount. So the centres have had to adapt and look at completely different ways of doing that. And we've seen some fantastic stories coming out of the sector of the weird and wonderful things they've done to try and keep the employees engaged. We've seen TikTok competitions. I know Mandy had mentioned that they've done bingo. We've seen virtual karaoke sessions, everything to try and engage the people that are working from home. But then also not forgetting there's a lot of the contact centres that are in regulated industries haven't been able to deploy and mobilise their workforce to home work, and they are still in the physical contact centre.
And it's really interesting you mention about the idea that people actually perhaps underestimated as an industry to go into, because there are an awful lot of myths around call centres or contact centres. But you mentioned at the start of our chat the fact that people have gone in perhaps on the phones on a certain level. They've risen to be directors. It's actually a really great opportunity from a career point of view, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And I think the sector has moved on hugely from the boom in the 90s, where a lot of these myths kind of came from, that, people were robots and running off script. the way the sector is developed as customers are more inclined to use self-service channels now. So the complex queries that are coming through now are more technical and more complex, and they need a lot higher skills than would have been seen once before. It needs empathy, listening skills and problem solving as well. And for those that want it, not everybody wants to be a manager, but there's so many different routes for a career, whether it be into management or whether it be into the back office side of things. So there's roles in marketing, HR, learning and development, but there's also resource planning, the tech side of things, and actually, there's quite a science behind the contact centre sector of making sure there's enough people on the phones at any one time when a customer wants to call in.
So I guess potentially, kind of ever so quickly here, Julie, given that we are heading potentially into one of the worst recessions of recent times, could contact centres be a bit of a beacon of hope for the North East in terms of jobs, do you think?
Absolutely. And I think not just considered as a stopgap job, it could be looked at as retraining and moving into a completely different sector. Like I say, the career development opportunities are huge. Everybody has career personal development plans. So the centres are really, really invested in making sure that staff are happy, safe, but also progress to their full potential.
Fantastic to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Julie.
Thanks very much, Lisa.
You are more than welcome. Lovely to talk to you. Julie Mordue there, an expert on the contact centre industry, an industry that has worked so hard during the last few months, but perhaps has often been forgotten.